Ladies and gentlemen, federal employees, today we're talking about the worst mistakes that you can make on your retirement application that are going to slow down how quickly you get your money in retirement and in general can just mess up your retirement in other areas as well. We're going to talk about the mistakes that a lot of people have made in the past so that you don't have to make those mistakes. If you are new here, my name is Dallin Hawes. I'm a financial planner and CFP who I absolutely love working with federal employees, and I do it every single day to help you guys get the most out of your retirement and retire confident. So let's dive right in. So for those that don't know, when you retire, you fill out an application for retirement, and there's a lot of things that need to be filled out there correctly. And if it's done correctly, then OPM can often process your application relatively quickly. There's always some sort of a delay, but they can go relatively quickly, and there will be less probability of just mistakes with your pension and lots of other things that can come up. So the better you do on your application, the smoother the rest of your retirement is going to go, especially the first part of your retirement. So that's the context. Now, what mistakes are often made? Now, there's two types of mistakes. The first type of mistakes are mistakes you make, that you just don't fill out the application right, you don't give them the information they need, whatever it is. The other type of mistake is when your HR, your payroll processor, someone other than you makes a mistake, which happens, okay? So for that type of mistake, you can't control it necessarily other than trying to give your HR and whoever's involved as much information as they possibly need to make things really easy and clear for them. It's going to be a big way that you can help them eliminate mistakes on their side. But again, you don't have complete control over the process, but you can do the very best you can. Now, let's jump into the type of mistakes that individuals make on their own applications so that you can avoid those for sure. Number one, when you fill out your application, you want to make sure there are no blanks, okay? You want to make sure anything that needs to be filled out is filled out and filled out correctly. Now, it may sound simple, but I see this all the time where things are just left blank that need to be filled out. You want to be very thorough as you fill out the application. Now, as I'm recording this, I know many agencies still have paper applications. Many agencies have gone to an online retirement application, so you might experience either one. But either one, the application is the same, just how you fill it out is going to look a little differently, whether you write it in or whether you do it online and type it in, right? However you do it, just make sure any field that you need to fill out is filled out and filled out correctly, okay? That's number one. Number two is one of the biggest mistakes I see is people don't have the supporting documents that they need when they submit their application. For example, if you are divorced, did you submit your divorce decree, your court order, whatever is involved there? Or maybe you're married and maybe you need to do a wedding certificate. I've seen that. Whatever documents your situation calls for and your application calls for, make sure you include that. That's the sort of thing that might slip through the cracks. And then when OPM gets it, they have to coordinate a bunch of stuff and it's a mess and it just takes a long time. You gotta make sure it's done correctly. Other common documents is, for example, FEGLI, your Federal Employee Group Life Insurance, has a separate document that needs to be filled out if you want to keep some of your FEGLI into retirement. So you want to make sure that is done correctly. It is submitted along with, everything is together, clean, organized, and everything like that, okay? Now, again, first we talked about just making sure there's no blanks, everything's filled out correctly. Number two, making sure you have all the supporting documents you need. And number three is making sure you understand exactly what decisions you're making on your application. So you really make a handful of decisions, but there's really a couple that are most critical. Number one, survivor benefits. Whenever you retire, you fill out the application, you have to elect, do you want your spouse to get a piece of your pension if you were to die first, right? That's the decision you have to make is if you died, do you want your spouse to get a piece of it? And if you do, it's going to cost you a piece of your pension while you're both alive. When you're both alive, you get a smaller amount, but if you pass, they then get a piece of it. Now, one big piece that's tied to that survivor benefit is if you don't elect a survivor benefit, if you waive that, then your spouse, if you died first, would not be able to stay on your health insurance. I'm not sure why that's the rule, but it is in fact the rule. So you want to make sure if you want survivor benefits, you elect it and you elect the one you want, and you don't want to mess this up. You want to do it correctly the first time because there comes a point where you can't change it. You can't fix it after a certain point, okay? So keep that in mind. Also, when it comes to life insurance, are you electing the one you want? Really? If you're getting rid of it, is that really what you want? If you are keeping it, is that really what you want? It gets quite expensive often in retirement depending on which option you pick. So basically, I beg of you, whenever you're filling it out, be intentional. I know lots of things in life we can kind of just hurry through it and like, oh, that's probably it. Please don't do that for this application. You want to make sure you understand every question you're filling out and it makes sense to you. You understand what it's asking. You understand the decisions you're making. You understand what supporting documents is asking for. If you have questions, you're welcome to certainly get help, like from a firm like ours, or you are certainly welcome to ask your HR. Whatever you want to do, as long as you get the help you need or you do the research you need to make sure you don't make these mistakes, to make sure your retirement is smooth, effortless as we possibly can make it, right? And to make it as good as we possibly can for you. So I hope that is helpful. Have an incredible rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time.